Can you start? Good morning. Welcome to Cedar Top Missionary Baptist Church in Wilmore, Kentucky, where our pastor, Marlon D. Fain, is the pastor. Amen. Our call to worship will stand as follows. Psalm 125 reads as follows. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abides forever. As the mountains are around and about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people, from henceforth even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteousness, lest the righteousness put forth their hands unto iniquity. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. For such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, and the Lord shall lead them forth in the workers of iniquity. But peace shall be upon Israel. May the Lord continue to bless the reading of his word. Amen. Amen. Dear Lord, we come to you this morning. Lord, we're grateful and thankful for just another day that you let us come together. Lord, for those that are needing prayer this morning, Lord, we say thank you. Lord, we're grateful that you let us be able to have us to be in our right mind. Lord, we ask you to come into this service this morning, Lord, and we ask you, those that are hurting, those that need you, Lord, let them call upon you. Bless this service, Lord. Bless those that are watching. Bless those that are here. Bless those under the sound of my voice that hear your word today, Lord. Let us live in your will. Let everything be done decently in the Lord, and let everything be on one accord. Put your hedge of protection around us, Lord. Bless us, Lord, and keep us. Let us wear the whole suit of armor. Lord, we ask you to expand our territory spiritually, mentally, financially, and physically. Lord, watch over this world. We're in need of prayer right now. Lord, with this pandemic going on, Lord, we ask you to just calm the skies and calm the people like you did once before. Lord, we just say thank you because of your son Jesus, who's the storm calm. Lord, we thank you for your son Jesus, who's a fixer. Lord, we thank you for you, Lord, because we know who you are and we know what you're capable of doing. Lord, let this time we grow strongly into you. And Lord, as we come together as families, Lord, let us come together to be a stronger family for you. We truly are grateful and thankful, Lord. Watch over the under shepherd of our church and stand with him, Lord. Let him preach one Lord, one faith, and one baptism. Bless those, Lord, that are looking upon us, Lord. And we ask you to let them fall out with the ways of the world and trust and believe in you, Lord. We're truly grateful and thankful. In your precious son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Yeah. hold on till your change has come.
Our scripture this morning will come from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 7, verses 1 through 10. And it reads as follows. Now when he concluded all his sayings, and in the hearing of the people, he entered into Capernaum. And a certain centurion, servant, who was dear to him, was sick and ready to die. So when he had heard about Jesus, he sent to the elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they begged him earnestly, saying that the one for whom he should do this was deserving. For he loves our nation and has built us a synagogue. And Jesus went with them. And when he was already not far from the house, the centurion sent the friends to him, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. Therefore I did not even think myself worthy to come to you, but say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I also am placed under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and another, come, and he comes to my servant. Do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him. And he turned around and said unto the crowd that followed him, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. And those who were sent, returning to the house, found the servant well, who had been sick. May the Lord continue blessing the reading of his word. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Alfred. Thank all those that continue to work behind the scenes. Look, it's good to be in the house of the Lord this morning. I know I've got more puppets here than I do a real person, but you know that's okay. That's okay. I'm thankful that Cedar Top still takes seriously the spread of the gospel. And I am thankful that so many work diligently in this place. Like I said, it takes a lot to keep the doors open, even when folks are not walking through them. And so I just think I'm just delighted. I was telling somebody earlier this week, I just thank God for the way that Cedar Top continues to love. And I don't take that lightly. Every day, we've got folks that are working behind the scenes. I've got people that are calling me and trying to figure out new ways, innovative ways to continue to do what we're doing, and then also figure out new avenues to reach people, not just within the walls of Cedar Top and on our roles, but throughout this community. And so I'm just thankful for how God continues to use us to show His love. I want to remind all those that are joining us by Facebook Live. Look, we're excited that you're with us. I realize that some catch it; they don't catch the live broadcast, but throughout the week they're coming back and listening to the message. And so I thank God. I thank God for your presence. I thank God for your prayers, and I welcome you on this rainy morning, right here in this area of the state. We have some rain. It's a little chilly, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll take it because it can always be worse. And so I welcome all those that join us by Facebook Live, YouTube as well. So thankful for the media ministry team that works not just on Sundays and Wednesdays, but throughout the week. And so I pray your blessings as you continue to maneuver. I'm thankful for our music department, thankful to our deacons, our associate ministers, our young people, our young adults, our those that lead church prayer meetings on Tuesday and Thursday morning. Just so much, and I'm thankful for it. But again, I want to welcome all that join us this morning. Just a couple of reminders. I want to continue to be in prayer for those that are sick and shut in. Technically, we're all shut in right now, but we do realize that there's still many out there that are struggling with their own afflictions. And we had many in this church that had some physical issues before COVID-19. And so we continue to be in prayer for those that are wrestling. Also want to be mindful of the ways to give, and we thank God for those that continue to be faithful. We have our Tithe Lead app, we have the PayPal app, and then we also have those that have continued to mail their tithes and offerings in. And so we're just thankful. We're thankful for the faithful here at Cedar Top. And so again, I welcome all those that join us. And look, I've been saying it for the last, I guess it's been about 5 Sundays now. Coming up, on our 6th, I believe we're going into our 6th week in this area of wrestling with the social distancing and the quarantine, if you will. And so for the last 5 or 6 weeks, I've said it, and I'll continue to say it. Sit back, pull up your breakfast, your chair, whatever. But join us as we have a hallelujah time, even in the midst of what we're going through. God is in control, and He continues to show us that He's in control. So again, I welcome all those this morning.
Again, good morning. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father, we ask you to forgive us of our sins, transgressions, and our iniquities. Lord, we ask you to strengthen us where we're weak, guide us where we're lost. Lord, we ask you to put a hedge of protection around us and let us do your will and be of your will in your way. Lord, we ask you to let us wear the whole suit of armor so that we're protected by anything that's not of you. Lord, we ask you to come on in this little old church, Lord. Lord, and all the churches across the nation and all across the world, and those that are believing in your word, in your Son Jesus. Lord, we ask you to strengthen us and keep us during this time. Lord, we ask you to watch over those that believe in you, and those that don't, Lord, let them fall upon their knees and ask what must they do to be saved. Lord, we ask you to watch over the leaders of this country. Let them make the sound decisions and what's best, Lord, that you put in them to make sure that we all are healthy and happy and that your will is done. Lord, we're grateful for just another day. We're grateful that you let us be able to see another day. Lord, we ask you to watch over our sick and shut in, even though, as the pastor said, we all shut in. But Lord, we all sick as well. We're sick because we can't be amongst one another to praise and worship you like we normally do. But while we're sitting at home, Lord, let us get on in the closet in our own room, in our own space. And Lord, let us fall on our knees and call upon you like we've never called before. But Lord, I ask you, after this pandemic is over, Lord, we ask you to let us stay strong and keep our faith and trust in you. Lord, we ask you to hold us tight, Lord, and that we know your grace and mercy is sufficient enough. But Lord, we ask you to just bind anything down that's not of your will or your way. Lord, let everything we do be done decently and in order. Lord, fix us, Lord, because we're broken. Help us, Lord, because we need your help. Lord, doctor on us because we're sick. Lord, ease our minds because we need comfort. Lord, we thank you because of who you are, and we thank you because of what you do. But Lord, we're thankful for more than anything is your Son Jesus, who suffered, died, and bled on the cross, and was buried, and on that third appointed day, he rose again. Lord, we're grateful because you just made us able to have a little bit of time and a little bit of space to come and worship you this morning. Lord, we're grateful. Lord, the numbers are few, but the hearts are many. Across the world, across the city, across the state. Lord, we need you right now. Lord, we need you like we never needed you before. Lord, things have happened and people are sick. But Lord, we know you're a doctor of all doctors. Lord, we say thank you because you blessed us this morning. Ease the colds, ease the hurt, the pain. And for those that had to bury somebody, Lord, comfort their families. Let them not lean on to their own understanding, but lean on you, Lord. Let them look to the hills from which cometh their help, because their help only cometh from you, Lord. Lord, we're grateful. People's finances, Lord, are in shambles. Lord, we ask you to make sure they got food in their stomach, clothing on their back, and shelter over their head. Lord, let their bills be paid. But Lord, let them see that it don't take a whole lot, but just the faith the size of a mustard seed. Lord, ain't no rent getting not paid. People are still being able to do the things that they kind of want to do. But Lord, thank you for letting things that we need to do. We're staying healthy. We're staying obedient. And we're trusting and believing in you, Lord. We're grateful for just another day to be able to say thank you. Lord, watch over us and keep us. Bless this little old church on Scott Street. And we say thank you for letting us have the pastor that has what it takes to do what you want him to do. Comfort him and his family. Strengthen them, Lord. Let anything that's not of your will not come upon him or his family, or none of our family. Lord, we're just grateful for this day that we're able to say thank you. Lord, you blessed us by waking us up. You blessed us by making sure that we've had what we needed. And we say thank you. Continue to watch over all those that are in these churches across the world. Lord, let them teach your son Jesus died on the cross for our sins. And Lord, let them teach that if without Jesus, there would be nothing. And Lord, let them believe and know and teach that Jesus is the answer. We're truly grateful and thankful. In your precious son Jesus' name, we'll always pray this day and forever. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And amen. I hope we didn't get too much of it on camera, but I was back there fidgeting. Indeed, it is good. It is good to hear those old songs. They still make sense. They still work. Yeah, that's all right. That takes me back. And I'm not that old. That takes me back to my younger days, sitting in those pews. Pleasant Green would seem like for 7-8 hours every Sunday. At that time, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. 7-8 hours, 5-6 hours, and 2 hours on Wednesdays. But now, as I get a little older, and I even have raising my own kids, I'm starting to see the benefits of being raised in the church, and being close to the people that love the Lord. It is good. It is good to be here. I said it in the welcome, and I'll continue to emphasize just how good God's been to us. I know we're in trying times. In fact, I was looking at it probably a little bit later last night than I should have been. But I was looking at it, and we're praying for those states that have already begun to open up nail shops, and I'm not going to say anything on that, nail shops and hair salons and whatever. But we're praying. We're praying. I saw some footage. It didn't like anybody was getting your hair done, and I know the media does what it does, but that looked like a party. I saw a lot of folks just congregating each other. So with that being said, I'm not after anything politically. I'm just saying I'm praying. I'm praying that we make wise decisions as a nation, and I'm praying that we make wise decisions within our own household. Just because they say you can go out to the mall doesn't mean that we need to be running out to the mall. You just got the 1,200. Let it sit. Let it sit a little bit. I understand we got bills, but we don't have bills of opinion. Let that 1,200 sit. You don't have to look at tattoo parlor is going to be there this time next year as well. You don't need a tattoo that day. But in all seriousness, we are praying. We're praying for governors and mayors and of course, the President of these United States, as they continue to make decisions that impact all of us. We don't get a chance to put our head in the sand and say this doesn't matter. All of us are playing a part in this. And so we pray that God will give strength. When I came to the church, some folks were, at least one, pointed out the length of my hair and beard. And that's okay. That's okay. At least you know that I've been obedient to what the governor said. He said, don't go to your barbers and only do stuff that is essential. So I've decided to protest. I'm like these young kids. I'm going to let my hair just kind of grow out. Until like I'm playing basketball again. Just let it grow on out, knot up and all that. In all seriousness, it's good to laugh. It's good to laugh through all of this. Laughter is good for the soul. And so back away when you need to from CNN and all that. And spend time with your family and your loved ones and laugh a little bit. Laugh through this thing a little bit. Well, we're going to continue and really finish up this series we've been dealing with for the month of April, what it means to know Jesus. And I tell you what, this year is already kind of moving. Yeah, we're coming up on May, the end of next week. And so prayerfully, those things that many of us sat down in January and wrote down and pledged and all that, hopefully some of that's coming to fruition. If you've not had an opportunity to do anything in these last 5 weeks, it should have given you a chance to sit down and evaluate some stuff. So you don't want to look up in November and December and have not improved yourself and improved your family and relationships in this year. So I pray that you're pressing along even in the midst of all this. I want to continue this theme, what it means to know Jesus. And we're going to finish this up and prayerfully move into something different in May. But I do want to look and thank you, Reverend Alfred, for your commitment, sir. Thank you for reading that scripture in its entirety. You did get that in your listening, in your ears. That was Luke 7, 1 through 10. And so, to be the Lord's will, we'll continue. We'll continue in that. And I'll just read a couple of verses, and then we'll dive right into this. Luke, the 7th chapter, verses 1 through 10, and I'll just pull a couple, and then we'll dive right into this. You are praying. You are praying with me. Now, when he concluded all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. And a certain centurion's servant, who was dear to him, was sick and ready to die. So when he had heard about Jesus, he sent elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they begged him earnestly, saying that the one for whom he should do this was deserving. For he loves our nation and has built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them. And when he was already not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. Therefore, I did not even think myself worthy to come to you, but say the word, and my servant will be healed. May the Lord add blessing to his word. For those that are studying with us, I know I do have some real good Bible students here at Cedar Top, and many that join us that may not be members of Cedar Top that join us by social media. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that. I may pull a few nuggets out of here, and you're all saying, well, it didn't say that in the text. Keep in mind that we have this same account in Matthew. The Gospel recorded by Matthew in chapter 8, verses 5 through 13 as well. And so, as good Bible teachers do, we'll blend that together and take a look at both of those. If it were mandatory that I title this, it would be The Listening Ear of Jesus. The listening ear of Jesus. Wiersbe is quoted as saying, compassion does not measure in ministers. And too many times we decide in our own minds who should be blessed and how they should be blessed. We forget that God has instructed us to water and to plant, and He is the one that gets the increase. Unfortunately, those marks that characterize the biblical Christian are missing in many of us that call ourselves Christians. Jesus said those that are considered His disciples must take up their cross and die daily and follow Him. He also said that He is the light of the world. Whoever follows Him will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. A follower of Christ is one that clearly has a different walk than those of the world. Paul said this, anyone in Christ is a new creation. Old things have passed away, and all things have become new. The story goes that there was a gentleman who was the president of a large corporation. After some years with the company, he was diagnosed with cancer, and the company soon terminated his employment. The man lost his insurance, went through his life savings, and was left with little financial resources. Although the man was not a member of a church, the local pastor and deacon visited the man's home, and all agreed that the man had little time before the disease would take his life. The pastor asked the gentleman if he was prepared for life after death. The gentleman then stood up in anger and yelled that if God was so great, why was He not doing anything with the real problems in his life? The man went on to tell how his wife was going to be left penniless, and his daughter would not have any money to go to college. The man eventually threw the deacon and the pastor out of his home. The pastor and the deacon made a second trip a few days later. The pastor apologized for offending the man, but explained a few things to the man. The pastor let the man know that they had made a few phone calls, and a realtor in the church had agreed to sell the family's home, and then the commission would go to his wife. He also told the man that a group of men in the church had agreed to pay the mortgage on the home until the house was sold. The pastor also let him know that a local apartment owner had agreed to allow the family to move in at a great rate and hire the wife as the complex administrator. The man at that point cried uncontrollably. He would die a few days later, never accepting Christ, but experiencing God's love. The widow, however, was so touched by the care of those group of believers that she responded to the gospel message and accepted Christ into her life. The widow learned something simple through the ordeal, yet profound, that Jesus hears the cries of those that put their trust in him. David the king said this, "When I cry out to you, then my enemies will turn back. This I know because God is for me. In God I will put my trust." The widow learned about the listening ear of Jesus. She learned about his drawing power. She learned of compassion through the witness of the local congregation at the church. In short, it makes a difference how we interact with the world and how we interact with each other. Jesus makes clear that those that do for the hungry, for the thirsty, the homeless, and those without resources reflect their relationship with him. Do I have any Bible students in the house who said, "You've done for the least of these, you've done for me"? And while this passage speaks specifically to the period known as the judgment of the Gentiles, right before Christ's millennial reign, it is a clear reminder that how we treat each other makes a difference. Those that study the Christian movement have developed a term now known as nominal Christianity. That is, one who identifies as a Christian but shows no marks of being a Christian. In other words, one who is a Christian in name only. Most of the time, it does not take long to figure out those who are Christian in name only. We have here a centurion in the area of Capernaum. He is a Roman officer who is in command of some 100 men. Traditionally, the Jews and the Jewish elders would have little compassion for Romans, and even less for a Roman soldier. Keep in mind that the Roman Empire occupied the area of Israel in Jesus' time, and there was clearly tension. Yet, we quickly learned that this Roman centurion was admired. And in fact, the Jewish contingent would rally around the officer. The centurion would prove to possess attributes that would move Jesus to move on his behalf. When Jesus hears about the centurion, Jesus moves. And so the question for us this morning is that when Jesus hears about us, is he moved? When Jesus hears about us, is he moved? When we look at this account, and it's a good account. You have to keep in mind that one thing that Jesus is trying to do is he's speaking upon compassion, but he's also trying to get those of Jewish descent to understand that indeed this gospel will go out to the Gentiles as well. And so we see this centurion, and I just want to pull 2 or 3 attributes, if you will, and see as we journey through this text how that speaks to where we're at. We first see that Jesus hears the kind-hearted. Jesus hears those that are kind-hearted. You know the story, but we have this man, we have this Roman centurion, and if you know anything of the Roman culture, in that time, they were, especially the soldiers, they were rough, and they were taught to be stoic and be solid and not move. But we see here one Roman centurion who has concern for his slave. In fact, if you look at the Matthew account, it tells us that the slave was paralyzed and it was at his home in pain. And let's make sure that we paint this scene when we talk about slavery in this culture and in most cultures as well. That servant, that slave, would have been the property of that Roman centurion. Yet the centurion was concerned to the point that he would break all protocol. He would break all the chain of command. And after the Jewish elders give word to Jesus that healing was needed. Look in 2 and 3. It says, and a certain centurion servant who was dear to him was sick and ready to die. So when he had heard about Jesus, he sent the elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. How many of us have pleaded to Jesus on someone's behalf? I mean, let's really think about that. Most of us were pretty good about our little list when we go and quote unquote our prayer time and telling Jesus about our own problems. But when have we gotten to the point, if we've ever gotten to it? When have we gotten to the point that we've interceded on the behalf of others? And I'm not talking about those simple, Lord bless, and you just go down the list and name 50 people. And I'm not after any rote prayers. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about sincere prayers when we go before the Lord on our knees, asking him to work on the behalf of others. Look, one job of the pastor is to, I'm reading a good book by H.B. Charles now. It's called One Pastor. But one of them he talks about, he emphasizes, one of the jobs is really to lead the church in prayer as a pastor. And look, if no one's at prayer meeting, your minister should be at prayer meeting. I'm talking about if nobody else shows up. It should be your ministers and your deacons and your pastor. Your pastor is called to lead the church in prayer. Your pastor is also taught to make sure that the teaching of the word goes forth. We understand that. But prayer is such that the body of Christ is only moved through the power of prayer. We see the plea of this Roman centurion. We see this plea on the behalf of his servant. So how many of us? I'm talking about when we do an honest account. Don't raise your hand. Don't tell on yourself. You don't have to put anything in the comments field. But how many of us are really going on to the Lord on behalf of others? How many of us can be considered kind-hearted to the point that we cry when others cry? We hurt when they hurt. One thing we talk about the local church. The local church should feel the pain of one another. We should feel the joy and all that as well. We should feel the pain when one person in Cedar Top hurts. We all hurt. Until we get to that point, we can't be what God would have us to be. Paul in his letter to the Ephesians mentions that he gives thanks for them continuously. It says he mentions them in his prayers. This centurion who clearly goes beyond the traditional role, if you will, in that society, and says, God, I need to get word to this man Jesus about my servant. What a powerful picture we have here. We talk about loving one another outside the boundaries of what the world has called us to do. I'm moved, Reverend, even in the midst of all this, and clearly we've got some folks that are doing some good stuff all around this country and in this community. But I'm moved that even in the midst of this, we're seeing hatred pop up. And who in the world? And I guess in a sense we should just be happy that we know that who's hateful. I guess at least they've identified themselves. But to have a march, to have a Nazi march, KKK march in the midst of this, to have it any time To have it in the midst of this time just speaks to the evilness of some. It says Jesus hears. He hears those that are kind-hearted. We see that the centurion was kind to the point that the Jews themselves, that when speaking to Jesus, they said, look, you need to understand something, Jesus. This man deserves your touch. He loves the Jewish nation, and he had built a synagogue in a local area for them to worship. It's in the text right there. And they sent the Jewish elders. He sent the Jewish elders, and the Jewish elders spoke highly of this Roman centurion. He said, this is the one that loves us. And he's done stuff, but he doesn't just say it. A lot of us just say it. But he said he put some stuff in place to show that he really has a concern. And Jesus, we're asking that you do what he needs. He's asking that your servant be healed. What am I saying? I'm saying that it makes a difference how we treat people. Jesus hears the pleas of those that are kind-hearted. Jesus himself was known for being kind-hearted and helping people, even when it was not popular. Even when it was not politically correct. I'm reminded that Jesus touched the untouchable. Is there a leper in the house? He spent time with unpopular tax collectors. Does anybody here know about Zacchaeus? And Jesus, he healed even on the Sabbath. Jesus was kind even to the point that it would cost him his life. And so I'm asking you, who have I helped today? Who have you been so kind to that even when it doesn't make sense, we still do it? So we see that Jesus first, he hears the pleas, he hears the cries of those that are kind-hearted. And then we see that Jesus hears the humble. He hears the humble. Look at 6, 7 through 8. Really, all of it speaks to his humility. But look at that specifically. It says, then Jesus met with him when he was already not far from the house. The centurion sent friends to him, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. 7a. Therefore, I did not even think myself worthy to come to you. You see that humility? Can you see that? Keep in mind now, the centurion, he gets word to a Jewish rabbi. He knew that coming into the home of a Gentile, that Jesus would be, as a Jewish rabbi, would be considered ceremonially defiled. The centurion thought highly enough of Jesus that he said, do not come into my home. We see that the Roman centurion uncharacteristically walks with a humility. Imagine a Roman officer telling a poor Jewish rabbi that he was unworthy for him to enter his house. Humility is defined as a modest or low view of one's own importance. Philippians 2 and 8 reminds us that Jesus humbled himself by becoming obedient even unto death. And are we glad that Jesus thinks highly of us, that he wants to visit our home? I'm moved at the humility of this soldier. And I think about it even in areas of my life where I'm not as humble as I need to be. And the same thing with you all. I'm not just going to tell myself. We all wrestle with that at times. But thanks be to God that he reminds us that we're not sometimes what we think we are. He reminds us through life that we better be humble. He reminds us in life that we better care for those that are less fortunate. Look, if we didn't learn anything, we learned in the last 5 weeks that most of us are a half paycheck away from being right there in the bread line. We don't have a chance to look down on anyone. God's been good to us. He's put us in some neighborhoods that 40, 50 years ago we couldn't even step foot in. And some of us, we've got vehicles. We get a vehicle every year. We get a new vehicle. Leather seat, sunroof, all that. Sometimes we miss the picture. We look down on others that may not be where we're at. And look, I'm learning. I'm now 42. I think that's what I came up with. Now, I'm now 42. And Reverend, I've had, and look, I like the new car smell. I like all that. I do. So I'm not coming down on anybody. Lord bless you. You know, don't leave it all for you. Leave some for you. You don't leave it all. Most of them are going to go through it. About 4 or 5 weeks. You better enjoy some of this. But look, I like that new car smell. But look, and now they got a little deodorizer to try to mimic it. But after a while, that new car smell leaves. And in order to get that new car smell, you got to go get a new car. And after about 42, 43, look, I'm about sick of car payments. I've purchased enough vehicles now to last about 4 or 5 folks in 2 lives. What I've learned is that this stuff, and that's all it is stuff, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end. What matters is our relationship with Christ and how we show our love for Him to others. That's what lasts. That's what gets this thing. James 4:10 tells us to humble ourselves in the sight of the Lord, and He will lift us up. David, although he was a giant slayer, and while thinking on God's creation, he said this: when I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visited him? Again, I said that we think more highly of ourselves than we ought to. And many times that keeps us from being effective in the local church. Look, I've had some folks come to me and say, look, what are you going to do with this over here and this over there? And I tell them I'm going to love that over there, just like I love this over there. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to trust God with all of it that He's going to work through Cedar Top. So we've got to be the picture. The church has to be the picture of love. So if folks can't come in here and mess up a little bit, then where can they mess up? And with that being said, some of us are too old to be messing up the ways that we're messing up. Lord's going to continue to work our body. We're going to continue to miss out on blessings. But we see that this man, this Roman centurion, he has a kind heart. He also has some humility. He walks in a humble man. He says, Jesus, I know I don't know everything, but I know a little bit about you. And I'm telling you, I know that you can work through this situation. You don't even have to come to my house. He says, look, don't come. Don't come. I'm not worthy enough to have you in my home. The problem with many of us is we've watered down this scripture. We've watered down our relationship with God to the point now we think we can do any old thing and come on into the church. Look, let's be honest, most of us think we can do any old thing and not even come into the church. And then in the end, call ourselves Christians. And we're telling ourselves by our movements every day. We're learning that we're not more Christians. We're only Christians in name. He says Jesus, the scripture tells us that He hears the kind-hearted. He hears the humble. And finally, He hears the faithful. He hears the faithful. In 7b, look at this. He says, but say the word. Stop right there. He says, this is the Roman centurion. He said, just say the word, Jesus said. And I know that some things can change. This Roman centurion who clearly didn't get the education that many of the so-called Jewish elite had got. Even those that were not elite, the Roman centurion, he didn't go through those seminary courses. He didn't go through many of those classes. Look, I don't know how much he could have unraveled of Abraham. I don't know how much he could have spoken of Isaac and Jacob. I don't know how much of that he could have given. But what we have right here is a clear picture of one that has faith. And Scripture reminds us that without faith, it's impossible to please God. Mm-hmm. The problem with too many of us is that we've got confidence in everything but God. Mm-hmm. We tell them ourselves. We get it. And look, I understand the struggles. I understand them. I get it. Don't call me up and saying I don't understand. I get it as much as I can get it. But some of us, we've learned that we've depended on money too much. We've depended on our titles too much. We've learned that we've depended on stuff that wasn't meant to have our dependence. No, in fact, let's be honest, we worship stuff. It wasn't meant to be worshipped. The centurion gave evidence of his faith by taking an example of his own profession and showing confidence that Jesus can easily command away the disease from a distance. Just like the centurion could command his soldiers. I love what he does right here. What you have to understand is that Jesus, he prepared you for whatever your ministry is. He prepared you the entire time for that. Look, a lot of us, we wonder some of the trials, and that's some of what we've been discussing on Wednesday with Joseph, right? We wonder why we went through the trials that we went through, we've gone through in life. And clearly, if we take a good look at it through some biblical lenses, through Christian lenses, we see that was the avenue for our ministries even now. And it was through those struggles we can now help somebody. He takes this Roman centurion. I love how God does it. See this now. You're Bible students. Don't just keep going. See this. The Roman centurion, he's able to understand the power of Jesus. He's able to understand it through his own profession. He understands that just like I'm a commander of 100 people. And when I tell them to go, they go. He says, I understand that Jesus, you have some stuff that's under your authority. He says, I understand that under your authority is this disease right here. I'm trying to help somebody. He said, under your authority is this disease. He said, look, I know that folks get caught up in the pageantry of it and all that. He said, but I just need you to speak. I understand that even from a distance, you can just speak in the disease. Have no choice but to flee. I'm trying to help somebody. I'm trying to help somebody out in the Facebook world right now. Look, you spent all last night trying to figure it out. There's nothing wrong with having some concerns. He gives us a mind. He does. But you spent all night, you spent all week worried about the child. You spent all week worried about your marriage. Worried about this. Worried about the doctor's report. Worried about your finances. You keep going back to that calculator thinking that maybe it's off. You keep coming up. Next. What I'm telling you, just trust Jesus. Just trust Jesus. He can move through the situation. Even from a distance. Even when it seems so far away from you and you can't figure out how this thing is ever going to come together. Jesus can bring this thing together. Just like he does right here with this Roman centurion and his servant. The centurion had the faith to believe that the disease was under Jesus' authority. We do not know exactly how the centurion had come to know Jesus. We do not know when he had heard of Jesus. Maybe he had listened to the locals. Or maybe he had heard about Jesus from even his own soldiers. All that we know, by the time we get to this text, he had heard about it. And he had trusted in his power. Jesus is said to have marveled or been astonished at the faith of the Gentile. The only other time we find Jesus where he marveled is at the unbelief of the Jews. In Mark's Gospel according to Mark 6:6. We see that Jesus heard these things about the soldier and he turned. Look at that. It says when has Jesus heard about your kindness? When has he heard about your humility? When has he seen your faith and turned? Scripture reminds us that it is done according to our faith. Those that have faith in Jesus have lives that will reflect a relationship with Him. Does your life reflect a relationship with Jesus? Or are you and I masquerading as a Christ follower? Evan Minton outlines 5 signs of one who is a nominal Christian. Is one that has no desire to talk to God. 2, one that has no desire to read the Bible and is okay with biblical illiteracy. 3 is one who lives in sin with no signs of remorse. 4, one who has no interest in attending church. And 5, one who has hatred in their heart. When Jesus dealt with the Pharisees, those religious fakes of the day, He often explained the dangers of their hypocritical posture. The word hypocrite has its origin from the Greek, which means an actor or a stage player. Actors in ancient Greek drama often wore figurative masks while acting out their character. You see where we're going with this? Are we pretending to be something that we are not? What does Jesus, again, hear about us? What will those closest to us say about us? What the world needs now is genuine Christians, those that show the love of the Lord. H.B. Charles says this: it is better to fully drive in one nail than to give a whack to 10 different nails. Let me read that again. It is better to fully drive in one nail than to give a whack to 10 different nails. Stop taking a whack at nails and ask God to regulate your heart so that you can start driving the nails home that He's called you to drive home. Does that add up? That should help somebody. That should help. The listening ear of Jesus. Luke 7, 1 through 10. And we thank God for this picture of this Roman centurion. What a picture we get of one that is kind. What a picture we get of one that is humble and walks in humility. And finally, what a fantastic picture we get of what can happen when one has the faith. So, Facebook world, on this rainy day, this last Sunday in April 2020, I again ask the question: what does Jesus hear about you? What does He hear? Don't pull a tech on Him. I know He's omniscient and omnipresent. Don't pull a tech. Don't pull a tech. What does He hear about you? Look, I understand that we have some that may. I'm praying that we have some that have connected with this service that may not know the Lord and the pardon of their sins. I understand that even in the midst of this, and we've got a lot going on as a country and as a state, and even a community, I understand that there may be some things that have been put on the back burner. But what you can't put on the back burner, and I can't put on the back burner, is our relationship with Him. If you don't know Him in the pardon of your sins, you get this thing right. You call the church, call the sale, put something in the remarks if you just need to pray. If you want to join the local congregation, we can take care of all that. And what I'm talking about is a relationship with Him. When you invite Him into your heart, and you can do that from where you're at right now. You don't need a deacon in a chair. All that's good. All that's fine. But invite Him into your heart. You're not promised that you're going to make it this week. And I'm not either. Let's make sure we don't do anything. We get our relationship right with Him. Listen here of Jesus. God, again, we thank You for what our eyes have seen and our ears have heard. We thank You for the preached word. We're praying even now, Father God, that as we leave this place without Your presence, Father God, that You just continue to come see about Your children. Now, Father God, we plead right now for those that are struggling. We plead right now on behalf of those that are wrestling. We know, Father God, that there are many that stand on the cusp of making the best decision they could ever make. And so, Father God, we're just praying right now. We're praying right now that you touch them in such a way that they'll make that decision. Forgive us, Father God, when we've not been about your business. Forgive us, Father God, when we've been around those that do not know you, but we did not bring the light. So, Father God, we pray that as we move forward, anything that be said about us, we said that we were kind, that we were humble, that we had faith. When people can see our lives, they can see all that. So, God, again, we trust all this to you. Bless those that join us. Bless those that are under the sound of this voice. It's in your darling Son, Jesus' name, we ask all these things. Forgive us of our sinful ways. Go with us, Father God, is our prayer. In Jesus'